Hey YouTube, quick video today. I'm going to show you before and an after of how to paint a foam Evil Dead hand. I'm going to show you what I started with and what I ended with. Let's take a quick look. All right, so this is what we start with. This is a polyfoam hand. So it's basically just an expanding foam compound that skins in a mold. This one actually has an armature in it. You can see a little bit of the steel pulling through there in the shadows. It's had some repairs and whatnot, but this is from mart. So this is his original sculpt, his original hand. So this is what I was sent, and this is what I'm starting with. So what does that turn into after you do some painting? Well, it turns into this. So this particular bad boy here is after several different layers of paints. So what did we do? The first thing we did was seal this. And you could seal this a number of different ways. You could seal it with Plasti-Dip. You could seal it with a particular varnish. They make other latex sealants that you can use. You can also use latex-based paint. Something as simple as something like this, for example. Basically, it has that solar protection built into it, and it has that latex built into it, so it does seal. You can also mix latex into paint and use that as your base coat and do that. Plasti-Dip will work just as fine, or Flex Seal. Doesn't really matter, but I decided to go seal it with some Flex Seal, get a red coat of latex paint on it, and hit it with another coat of Flex Seal because some of the seams had split and some of the inner foam was exposed, and I wanted to make sure all that was sealed up. So once it's all red, the next thing I did was I went in and I started adding a lot of purple. All over the place, and I did it with a sponge brush. I also used a chip brush and just did dabs everywhere, but not so much during that phase. So I hit it with some purple, like that it's airbrush paint because it's super diluted. Then I went in with some blue, did kind of the same thing, did some green, kind of the same thing, and I got it all nice and colorful. Then I went over it with a nice flesh tone paint. And the one that I used to start was this, and I just didn't even mix this. I just did a straight up dry brush of that. So once I had a base level, that's when I take the chip brush and I start going over it with the purple, with the blue, with this particular green, and I really just kind of get tones all over the flesh so it looks really gnarly. Then I go over it again with another coat of flesh, but I mix in some of this unbleached titanium, and that lightens it up just a little bit because this is decayed and it's unhealthy flesh, and so you do want to get that. So if we get in here, it's kind of hard to see all of the details and the ins and outs, but if we go just a little sticky, if we go on the inside, you can see the color variance. You can see where a lot of the greens and things and the purples and all that come through, and so the inside stays red. You can see I kept a lot of purple and greens and things around the outside. There was a lot of black wash, which of course I use my favorite shoe polish for, and that comes out really good. And then the nails and everything were done after the fact with a regular straight up brush. And then we add our beloved goop. And so the thing I actually like to use for this that makes it look really cool is this enamel accent, and then you just kind of trace it out and do what you want. For the parts that need to be shiny, inside the wounds, on the stump, on the nails, I like to coat it with this Citadel Ard Coat, and it just gives everything a nice little gloss pop. I used to use it on my X-Wing figures for the tabletop game. But overall, this has a really nice finish now. Looks really good. Because it's polyfoam, it's going to have these wicked seams on it. There's really not much you can do about seams if it's not pure resin. Now, a resin one, like this guy, is rock solid, so you can go in and grind off all those seams and really make that sexy, and that's what we're going to do with this. You can actually see a lot of the detail from the original piece here. This was also from Nick Sawmart. This was one of his clean the mold pulls that he gave me. And so, really happy to work with that a little too. But Nick sells these in various components. You can sell them, you could pick yours up just like this, finished and everything, maybe not with all this goop on it, but he sells them finished, he sells them unfinished, he sells them with armature, which means they're posable. So if we wanted to bend that finger, we can bend that finger. So if you want a posable one, he's got that hooked up for you as well. And they also come in one other format, which is this flipping the bird middle finger version. And that's a popular one that people really like. And so you can pick these hands up at Nick Sawmart. I'm a big fan. I've always supported Nick. He wasn't always the best for accuracy, but he certainly was top for quality. And it's kind of become a staple in the Evil Dead community that Nick has his own style, his own look. So much so that now Evil Dead, the video game, has saws based on his original saw. And so Nick's sort of become canon in his own right. And so I'm a big fan of his work and what he's been able to keep going for the Evil Dead community. But here is your basic evil ash hand, infected, gnarly. It's nice. It's lightweight. You could attach it to your shoulder or whatever for con. They're very affordable. I think a raw casting of these things is like $50. And I think a fully finished one's like 75 or something like that. So it's super affordable. It's under $100 to get a full hand painted up and everything, which is just glorious. So if you're interested, I highly recommend one. If you want to paint one up yourself, these are a bitch to paint, but they can be fun. Simple procedures and using layers can often give you exactly the look you're going for. And they're a great addition to any Evil Dead collection. Thank you guys so much for checking this out. And since you checked it out, I hope that you go back through and look at a couple of my other things that I did. I have a bunch of Evil Dead stuff on here. There's, of course, the Knights of Samaria page, which is where all of the Evil Dead stuff I do is. You can see my Necros behind me. I've got some of my power glove, my AOD glove, all that fun stuff. Check it out. Let me know what you think. There's also a lot more Star Wars stuff coming this way. So this is just a quick vid. I'm trying to do a lot more small vids and then once a month do like a big sort of giant breakdown ramble video. But this is just a quick on my phone, shoot it up, get it on there video, so you can check that out. If you're interested in those, go check out his Etsy at Nick Saw Mart. And, you know, check out the Knights of Samaria because he posts them there too. Cheers.